is up? Hopefully you guys are having a wonderful day. Back with some more Resident Evil 4 Remake gameplay for you. And today I've got some news that we heard about recently in the last few days, talking about the future of Resident Evil in terms of Resident Evil 9 and maybe possibly another Resident Evil title. So without further ado, let's get into it. But basically, our favorite leaker slash information person we see who can be hit and miss, and once again I always say take this with a grain of salt regardless if the person has some credibility or not, but our favorite Resident Evil leaker, Dusk Golem, basically had some interesting information to reveal in terms of Resident Evil 9. Now he's been on record saying that Resident Evil 9, by the looks of it, looking at Capcom, that it was basically going to have a reveal sometime in 2024, like showcasing it and showing it all, making sure it exists to the grand public, and then having a 2025 release, which, isn't the most obscene thing in the world, but it may have to put the horses on that a little bit, because based on what he has said, that there's a lot of rumors going on that possibly that Resident Evil 9 has been internally delayed. He did not go on to any record saying why it might have happened, as it leads to us speculation. But basically, it's been eternally delayed, or the possibility of it. As I always say, these are rumors. This is not 100% confirmed, written in stone. It's only because it's coming from this person that has a little bit of credibility. But once again, as I always like to say, take it with a grain of salt. But long story short, yes, apparently it might have been eternally delayed. Now, the only way to really know for sure is to see when this thing eventually releases, and unfortunately, we have no idea. We're just led to speculate. But if it is to be true, it could be possibly, I'm just trying to tie two things together. Another big rumor we've heard recently is that Resident Evil 9 could possibly be open world, so I'm thinking, maybe this might be a reason why, maybe, it being, an open world, and as I said, I don't know the degree of open world, and these are just rumors at the end of the day as well, but could be it needs more time to be something that big and ambiguous. Now I hope it's not true open world. I can understand semi-open world, but not to the degree of something like, I don't know, Elden Ring or Horizon or something like that. But nonetheless, as I said, we're just pure speculating, having a little fun with this. But yeah, if it is to be believed, eternally delayed, how long this might take, and I mean, it still might come out 2025, just might be the end of it, or it could be 2026. My whole thing is this: if it is eternally delayed, I don't care how long it takes, as long as you do it right, because I don't want it rushed to release date, because once again, Resident Evil is in a good spot. It's selling well, it's got a lot of people enjoying the title, so there's no need for it to be rushed to the door. We can wait a few years if need be, but that's only on the crumps of us talking about Resident Evil 9, because he doesn't end there. He continues on talking about how with Resident Evil 9 possibly being eternally delayed, this gives opportunities for another Resident Evil game to possibly cut in between and be released beforehand to take up that space. So I'm not giving any dates because he doesn't either, so I don't know if this is talking about like released in terms of being coming out 2025 and it's going to be revealed in 2024 instead. But basically saying that, whatever this other Resident Evil game may be, it could take the spot of it. So that raises a lot of questions, and I think a lot of us assume that one of those Resident Evil games other than Resident Evil 9 is going to be Resident Evil 5 Remake. That's one I think a lot of us can see happening. Could it be, the ill-weighted Code Veronica remake, which I know a lot of people have been asking for, but I just don't know if Capcom will ever do that. Or could it be something completely different? I know a lot of people have been asking for Revelations 3. There's a lot of titles that could take that spot, and I can understand them doing that from a standpoint of, hey, you want a constant release with Resident Evil titles, because let's be honest, it's been a long time since we had 2 years release where we didn't have a Resident Evil title. I mean, sometimes I always say this to Resident Evil fans, like, I don't know any other franchise other than like, your sport franchise or Call of Duties where you basically have these titles released year in, year out, seemingly, once while you have a year off, but 2 years off, that seems like a God forbid thing for Resident Evil fans. But nonetheless, I do have a little like positive in that, as well as my own personal negative. I think the positive is like, yes, I'd like to hear about other titles. What I would personally like to be, if this is to be believed at Resident Evil 9, that's tough. Like, if I'm going to do a remake, personally, I think I have to go with Code Veronica just because I feel like it's the one that needs it the most. Like 5 doesn't really need it the most, even though I wouldn't have any problem with 5 because I hope they can do some things better than the original one. But Code Veronica is the one that needs it the most. But then I look at a brand new title, Revelations 3. If that's going to continue on the Revelations line and maybe tie up some loose ends or maybe continue some things on left unchecked from Revelations 1 and 2, I'd be all for that. I mean, personally, it's a tough call to make because I can say either one I'd really like to see and done well. But the only problem I have with this, and hopefully it's not the case because I don't want to have history repeat itself, is I don't want them to act like they have to have a Resident Evil game title put that spot if it's honestly not ready, like as if they got to rush it. Because my thing is I don't want to repeat a RE3 remake. I don't want things to be rush, not give enough time, and you just put out whatever. And if you had, like, let's take that game for example, I always say this: if they just pushed that game back a year and had it released in 2021, and then had Village come out the year after 2022, I think it would have done so much. It would have been so much better. But once again, there's probably more shareholders and publishers trying to force things out before they're really ready and stuff, and for they're really fleshed out, which sucks because we can only sit here and imagine what could have been. But nonetheless, I just don't want the next title to be like, oh, it's got to be out, it's got to be now, got to have something there. And sad part is that's how a lot of these things work too. It's not so much if they're ready or not. It's just, hey, mandate they got to be released here, and if not, well, oh well, tough shit, I guess. And who suffers? The people making the game get the bad flack, and then the gamer's going to target them, and they're getting the bad game, and they're probably targeting the wrong people. But that's unfortunately how it goes. Unfortunately, that's the world of business. But ultimately, as I said, all this stuff, rumors, take them with a grain of salt. But it is fun to discuss because, as I said before, we don't know what they're going to do. We haven't had any official reveals. We don't know what's going to be next, when it's going to happen, when it's going to be revealed. If anything's even going to be revealed this year. Like, I even made a video early this year or at the end of last year saying, like, I have no problem with nothing being released in 2024 of Resident Evil. You can have something announced or maybe a little update on whatever. I don't mind that, but I'm good for a year off, at least. 2 years off, as I said, if it comes to that, I can live with that because at the end of the day, I just want the games to be good. And if that's what it takes, then so be it. There's so many other great games to play right now. It's not like I have nothing else to do. It's not like Resident Evil is, the only thing I play. But I get it. Resident Evil fan, you're eager to see what they're going to do next. And I think that's what it more stems from. We're just more eager. Not necessarily that we need to have it at this absolute moment, but we're just more interested and curious of what they are going to do next, because it is a pretty pivotal time in Resident Evil right now, because the next major new title has got to be a big deal. It's got to be a big issue, and we're running out of games to remake, so eventually we got to get to the future of Resident Evil. We can't keep looking at the past, but it'll be interesting to see what Capcom does, and it is fun to talk about. But as I always like to say, that is my opinion. I want to hear your guys' opinion. How do you see all this? Are you someone who thinks that, hey, if this is all to be believed to be true, is this a good thing? Would you rather see another title brought up in between of Resident Evil 9? Or you're someone's like, if it is true, nah, I want to see Resident Evil 9. Or you're someone's like, hey, wait and see. And also, the title that is brought up, if that is to be believed to be true, what would you like to see it? Would you like to see it a brand new title or a remake? And which remake? Let me know down in the comment section down below. But thank you very much for watching. Hopefully you guys did enjoy this video. Hopefully I can see you guys back on the next one. Thanks, and I'll see you all later. Peace.